everybody. I'm Varun Gwalani,
I'm Pranika Sharma.
Hi, I'm Mithal Jain.
and welcome to the Reading Room. So, today we will be discussing Story 5, Seen and Heard, and we're joined by a special guest, Mithal Jain. Mithal, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi. I'm a school teacher. I teach grade 4, 5, and 6, and I teach subject English to my kids.
All right,
Uh,
thank you. So, Mithal is joining us to discuss the story of the teacher and how the teacher navigates through the pandemic. So we're going to be seeing, so just to give you a summary of the story, the teacher's life is pretty much ruined. That's the summary. That's in one line. Yeah. So she has to navigate online school, talking to black blobs on the screen. She has to navigate internet issues like she's some IT technician. She has to navigate school politics because government's interfering in educational policy at every second minute. She has to sort of navigate with children and even teenagers, young adults who are all barely interested, and she has to keep their interest while keeping her own alive. So it is pretty much a bleak situation for her all throughout. And it sort of gives an insight or a window into how the pandemic was for people who teach students, especially younger students. Yeah. Pranika?
Okay, lovely. That was a nice summary. We have our teacher, and we have a real life teacher with us, and Varun as well, who is a teacher. But yeah, we want to ask Mithal actually. I think one of the first things to sort of dive into the topic and conversation is what was your experience like in the pandemic, and how much of it did you relate to in with our character in the story?
okay, so starting with relating to the character was so relatable to me. I felt like I'm reading my own story. I felt like this is written for me to like literally. I was everything that was mentioned in the story was relatable to me. It's written by asking me like, "How was your day?" And I was like, "This is my day. This is my regular day. How is this in the book?" So so everything was like bang on correct. I would say like whatever was written was correct. So starting with the mute button that you started with had me like I was like, oh, this book is really interesting. It's just made for me, I guess. It's made to, like it made me realize, oh, maybe all of us are in the same boat. That's why it is so relatable. So starting with that, and the first episode, I would say, as I said before, it's my favorite episode out of the three, because it's the most relatable to me, and it had the mute thing that, yeah, it's true, we all have a favorite student. Even in online class, we have a favorite student who will be always early asking you how was your day, and that's the sweetest thing they do. Yes. And then talking about, one second, I just recollect what I read.
That's
Uh,
perfect.
yeah, and then the talking.
The politics of the school.
Yeah, that
Course,
was the second. Yeah, that was the second episode. Yeah, having bad network issues where kid is trying so hard to give an answer, but you can't really get the answer because the bad network, and then others are screaming and yelling, or like, we can't hear. It's like, yeah, I know. Just have a little patience. And yeah, like I thoroughly enjoyed reading the first episode. And the second one, I would say, with the politics, I did not relate much because I am like one of those lucky teacher who did not face it. But I could like connected with my friends who are also teachers, and they are facing it. It's not, yeah. So I couldn't relate it with me because I told you I'm like one of those like teachers who's not facing it. But there are so many teachers I know who are facing it.
Yeah.
So like the salaries cut down, and then the workload is not less. Even if you're like cutting down
Yeah.
teachers' salary, give us less work. And,
Like,
just a little bit.
teachers are really well paid anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So like even if I have to crib about my job, I can't because I see other teachers having even bad worse scenario than I do. So that was really bad, and it's so disheartening even because it happened with my friend. So I am still very sad about the work life she has. Less pay, a lot of work, then other teachers pressuring. It's a real story. So I could like relate that part with her, and it was really sad at that part. But then I heard the very nice poem that was written in the book with a lot of anger I could see from the child. So that was also really nice. Like I was happy that the other teacher created a space where child could actually say whatever the child wanted. Otherwise, it's not very easy for a child to
Yeah.
speak up. So creating that space, like the teacher, the character created that space for the child that she could really say whatever she wanted. And I really liked that part about the second episode a lot.
Thank you.
Okay, I think with the story, the especially the bits about relating to a teacher and how the pandemic sort of affected not just the students but the teachers as well. Like we see we see both parts struggling to sort of come together and find that middle ground. As a teacher, I'm sure you're you have your video on, you have your audio on, there are network issues, but at the same time you don't know, there's no physical interaction, you don't know how much of it is being grasped by the children, how much of it is it that they're taking in, and it's a long time to be spending
Yeah.
without interacting with the kids as like, I mean, it's been 2 years now. We've had schools and then they come on, they go off. You get into a routine and then you're back to square one. So what was, I mean, to have that experience captured in story, I feel that was one of the very important aspects of the series as well. So can you maybe tell us a little bit about why do you think that it was important to have in such a series? Why was that representation important in such a series?
I think the recognizing what troubles we face because lot of people just think like it's like a piece of cake. Okay, they really think this, and that pisses off me so much. So maybe when they read this, they realize a little, but still without this experience that I am like relating to, I think they still won't like they'll be like maybe this is a Jared exaggerated, but no, this is like real honesty. And so maybe some of them will get it that it's not a piece of cake. The teaching online was never easy. People really think that they have to sit at home and talk. That's the easiest job that a person could have, but no, that's not true. So maybe reading the story might make them realize and understand our struggles and problems that we face. So I hope that for that it's really important for stories like these to go to people.
Varun, what about, yeah, what's your answer?
So, like Mithal very eloquently said, there is this perception that teaching is easy. Teachers, they get the vacations off. What big deal? It's so simple. I'm like, bro, we like learn during those vacations. We like do courses and stuff. We don't rest. And I mean, it's not an easy thing because we're like parents most of the day, right? And we're like 24/7 around those kids, and we're like having to be there and shape them in a meaningful way, right? And now we've been given the double burden of shaping them meaningfully or through a screen, as if it wasn't hard enough, right? So they have to, then you and you miss out on so many seminal moments. That's honestly the tragedy of it all. I think that nobody really sees. You miss out on seeing their friendships. You miss out on seeing how they grow. You miss out on seeing even the physical changes, like how they are in third grade and how they are in fifth grade, and how they've grown, and how maybe they walk a little differently, how maybe they hold themselves upright a little differently. You're never going to catch that through a screen, right? And they need people to notice that, because even their parents and their families would be struggling, and they're too close to notice that. So they need someone there to notice that. They need that emotional contact, which is completely lacking through screen. You cannot substitute that same contact that you have in person than you can through a screen, right? And even if it's hard enough for me to talk to friends and stuff over WhatsApp or screens and stuff, and these are people I know, and these are people I'm connected with, these are people who can understand me. I have to make someone understand emotionally something who's much younger and less emotionally mature than me, so many vast and complicated things, right? How are you going to do that? And it's a big responsibility. It's a big responsibility in and of itself, but doing it now when they're stuck at home and they need outside contact the most is even more important. And most people just don't grasp that. Even if they say, oh, teachers need help and whatever, they don't grasp how we need help. They don't grasp the comprehension with which we need help. And that's really something that needs to be seen, I think.
Definitely. And I think what happens is we have the teacher sort of teaching two age groups in this story, right? We have her teaching Rainbow, who's our protagonist for the previous story, and we have her teaching Alia. And there's this, but the struggle remains the same for both, right? It's still, regardless of which age group, you're still just talking through a screen, and you still don't have that attachment. So, when why tell us a little bit about that? Why did you think that it's important to put in those two perspectives?
Because first, uh, Mithal, do you want to say something? No? Firstly, it's important, I think, to show how teaching kids is different from teaching adults, because it's a vastly different dynamic. But in this case, the dynamic is still screwed up both ways. So it's not easy there also. And I've had an experience of teaching both kids and adults. So I thought it would be interesting to show that. But another thing from the practical aspect of it is that she needs to work these two jobs because she's just not earning enough, right? She was not earning enough anyway, as you can see. So she's definitely not earning enough now. So she needs those two jobs to just sustain herself more than anything else. And more than anything else, she needs to she wouldn't be able to have an outburst like she does at the end with the kids, like she does with the adults, right? She has an outburst in the end because her frustrations are finally coming loose. You can't Having that with kids is a little more difficult because you have to be a little more controlled around them, because they get affected much more than adults or older students would. So I think both of those are important, and this story also allows to connect to both characters. Rainbow from the previous, from the first, from third story, and Alia through the series. So this story serves as sort of a bridge where like 3-4 characters are already coming in.
Definitely, it does. I think straying a little bit away from the story, because I know the story brings out a sort of more. It brings out all the bits and pieces that you face as a teacher, but I'm sure there were funny incidents throughout the whole bit. So, both of y'all, why don't you all tell our audience some nice funny bits that they faced while teaching?
Mithal, go for it.
I do tend, like, I really want my class to be fun for my kids to like be excited for the class. So today, I showed them a video from Yashraj Mukhard's series. Like, he makes really funny videos. So and whenever I do a check-in with kids, they'll be like, "We are bored. It was a boring day." So like most of them will be like giving you this answer, and the song was like, it is a boring day, and it was like Yash Mukhati. I don't know if you know him. Like he makes funny Instagram reels. So I was like, see,
Yeah.
I bought a video which is relatable to you. You all will relate. And that was like today's incident. They all had like, they're like, yeah, we enjoyed it. It was funny. So like that is what I try, but there are many scenarios where it just gets funny. Kids just simply like something's happening, another kid will just say random stuff that I can't really collect right now. That is the most funniest thing like happens when we are talking about a certain topic. But he'll be like, "But Didi, tomorrow what time do we have class?" You know, but that something else is going on. You
Yeah,
have no
exactly.
clue. You
Yeah.
have no clue what's happening in the class. Like
Exactly.
my login ID is lost, Didi. Like out of nowhere, we are learning something or the other, and they'll be like, "My login, I
Yeah.
don't have my login ID." I'm
Correct.
like, "Yeah, but can you ask me
This
that
is my
later?"
question. Yeah. You have to catch them. You have to be so alert. Like we be going through a chapter and then you're like, oh wait, that kid isn't talking. So you ask him, yeah, ask him a question, and he's like, and then they say, oh, so I was lagging. I couldn't hear you. That's
Yeah,
that's that's the standard answer. There's this one kid of mine. Anytime I ask him something he doesn't know, I was lagging, so my internet was bad. And I'm like, you can't even tell them something at that point because maybe their internet was bad.
yeah, that's true. Like even for the daily class, when I asked them to put their cameras on, they're like, Didi, I have very bad network today. I can't put my camera on today. I'm like, okay, fine. There's nothing I can say beyond this because maybe that's true. But then, yeah. So, like for exam, this time what I did, I'm like, if you keep your cameras on, I'll give you 1 mark extra.
Wow. You're
And
resorting to
that
that much level.
worked. And that worked. I'm not kidding. And while submitting their paper, they have written on Google Classroom, Didi, all the time my camera was
Oh,
on,
my
okay? Don't forget. And I'm like,
God.
yeah, I'm like, okay, I'm very happy to give you this 1 mark because your camera was on.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you won't believe 80% of the students were had their camera on for that 1 mark.
Wow. I have to learn this technique. Thank you. Pro tip.
Yeah. You learn from your struggles, no?
Yeah, you learn from your struggle. And this has been a struggle.
Definitely, like can't deny.
Definitely, definitely. And I think since you spoke about exams, definitely one thing I want to touch upon is online exams and cheating and the new ways of cheating that students have learned. Please enlighten us as well. Anything that you've caught on?
Yeah.
No, please, this is your field. Please go for it.
So yeah, you get to know now. Like as a teacher, I know what my child can write. So
Yeah,
whenever I check
exactly.
their essay, I'm like, there is no way you have written this essay. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is copied. Send me this. Send me the another one now. So that's one way you get to know. And so if essays are copied, it's very easy to know. I know how much words
Yeah,
my
yeah.
kids can write. Yeah. So
Sometimes they just copy paste it. Yeah. Like, how dumb do they think we are?
and my kids
Yeah,
are
clearly,
very
I think the kids have underestimated the teachers
yeah.
greatly when it comes to.
Yeah, so they really think that teacher would not say they have also like paraphrased a little in the start, and but then they'll copy. I'm like, I get to know this as well. Now, how
Correct,
can I give you
correct.
marks?
And it's that all the other kids act as pretty much police. They will be like, so if I am suspicious about a story, I'm like, this is the plot, and another kid will come and tell me, no sir, that's the plot of this book. That they've copied it from there. So even if I don't know, they know. It's a crowdsourced cheating camp.
Yeah, yeah. So this happens in the classwork when I like maybe we're doing something in the class day to day thing and ask them to send their work on group WhatsApp group, a common WhatsApp group, and kids will like they'll send others work, and then other child will be like, it is my work.
It is my work.
He is copying.
Oh my God! Wow. But
Yeah,
yes, it's been while it's been very difficult for everyone, teachers, students included, and the loss of, I do feel bad for anyone who's studying in this pandemic. Like, I
Yeah.
cannot imagine myself going through that.
No.
But at the same time, we've had some really fun stories. I know I have a bunch of cousins who are in the process of studying, and group cheating sessions, people's friends coming
Yeah.
over to give
We
Yeah.
have
exams.
Yeah,
WhatsApp
they'll
group
sit on the
for
same.
cheating.
They'll sit on the same room and they will, hey, answer.
Yeah, so like, yeah, I've seen my cousins sit together for same exam. They have common WhatsApp group. Just be like they get their answers in 1 hour and then they can just submit it.
Yeah.
All this thing for like I have younger kids, so they don't have like common WhatsApp group for cheating. I'm hoping that at least.
You never know.
You never know. Like Google Forms, which are answer sheets, they submit to like their teachers, tuition teachers, and tell them, hey, you submit,
Yeah.
you
Are you
fill.
Yes,
serious?
Yeah.
that is common amongst younger
Yeah.
grades. They'll sit with their tuition teachers.
Yeah. Pranika is so scandalized by
I
all of this.
I could never imagine doing something like that in my when I was.
Pranika is a goody two shoes. That's
But oh gosh, I would definitely like to ask Mithal if she had any questions for us as author and editor in the story,
Yeah.
anything that came up.
Yeah. So like how did like what was the process of making this so relatable? How did you like come up with such relatable stuff? Because I am actually shocked, to be honest, that how is this so relatable, and how like what was all the thinking about behind this? So that is something I'm excited to know.
I think the biggest part that played in was because Varun has personal experience with doing this day in and day out.
so. I just thought of the most
All the
traumatic
times.
incidents that have happened. I chose like a little less because they were not too believable. I chose the most believable ones, and then I'm like, okay, I'm putting this down.
Yeah.
And
That,
yeah, let's make this as funny, sad as we can. All the other stories are a little sad. At least this can be funny, sad. Like you can laugh at me while
Yeah.
I laugh at you.
yeah, and cry at the same time that you're
Exactly.
going through this.
Yeah, it's that emoji. You smile and a tear is dropping.
Oh gosh.
Definitely. Definitely. Like, yeah, it's literally that the whole teaching process is that emoji.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
what I think of. We cry and we are like, yeah, we're smiling as well.
Yeah, we're crying on the inside. We mute ourselves to cry, and then we
Yeah.
unmute to talk.
That's
Oh
sweet.
gosh. I can
It is
never imagine doing what you guys do. Like, no. It's truly, it's
no.
a feat. It's a feat, and it's something that I do not want to do ever. But
Yeah.
Hopefully, more people read the story and understand the struggle.
yes,
I
hopefully.
really hope that too.
Yeah, any relatable incidents that any other teachers have had while teaching, any funny incidents that they want to share, please put them in the
Share in the
comments below.
comments, please.
Yes, definitely. We'd love to hear. And any questions that they had about the story as well, for sure. I think this was such a nice, lively discussion about our story, seen and heard. And thank you, Mithal, for joining us for the story. And stay tuned for the next one, everyone.
Yeah.
Yes, and thank you for having me here. I had a lot of fun talking about my experience with you all. So thank you.
Thank you for coming, Mithal. And join us, everybody, for next time for the story on OCD. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.